uncertainty here. Wind gusts have approached 30 miles an hour down that back straightaway.
And right quick, I want to say this. Think about it. Ted Musgrave just finished qualifying a Craftsman truck vehicle, and the other guys, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, they've all been out practicing during this practice session early on for the Nextel Cup. So I think those guys may have a little bit of an unfair advantage, at least at the start of this race, Mike.
But remember, these cars will run around here all but wide open. That wind could play havoc with them, especially on the exit of the corner.
Musgrave, Kinzer on the front row. Round 4, Crown Royal IROC 30. We're underway.
Let the bump drafting begin. Ryan Newman just gave, looked like Sam Hornish, a little love nudge right there going down into turn 1.
Wayne Taylor from the inside of the second row did not get a very good start. Scott Sharp moves up for second now.
And it's almost like Kenseth and Stewart, the two cars on the back row, lag back. Now they're getting, the draft will actually play a part here. As you can see, they're already working their way up through the field.
On board Matt Kenseth, as he said, he hooks right up with Tony Stewart. Underneath the condos in turn 4 and back to the start-finish line. Musgrave leads lap 1. Here comes Sharp.
And he's getting a push from Frank Kimmel in that 46 car. They've actually got Musgrave trapped on the high side. He's going to go from 1st to 4th in that one car.
And up to 3rd comes Mark Martin.
Hey, guys, didn't they tell them that this is only lap 1 of about a 65-lap race?
Whoa, bump drafting from Kenseth. Hello, Mr. Stewart.
Hey, kind of like one of those deals like, Bump, hey, you know me? Hello. I'm the guy who's trying to beat you.
Scott Sharp leads lap 2.
You know, Frank Kimmel was telling us last night on trackside, he said, I've never been in a situation where I was bump drafting a guy, and he was waving me to bump draft him harder.
Tony Stewart just passed 3 cars at once entering turn 1. And I think he rubbed up Steve Kinzer a little bit to do it. But Stewart passed 3 of them in the blink of an eye.
He's definitely got a fast race car, Mike.
Well, as I said at the top of the show, as we're riding with Ryan Newman in the 12 car right now, these guys know that if they want to get up there and try to lead this race, they're going to have to get there
3 wide, Larry, 3 wide.
Kenseth inside of Newman. Truex on the outside. And this is for 6th place.
You just don't run out of real estate up there. That's the key thing.
I like what Ryan Newman did coming out of turn 2. He gave Truex plenty of room. Knew he was still there, even though these teams do not have spotters on the roof.
Yeah, everything is about sense of feel in the rearview mirror. That's it.
You're on your own.
Now it looks like Truex in the 8 car, he got a pretty good run off turn 4 on the high side. These guys still going 3 wide.
That's one of the things, Larry, I love about Atlanta Motor Speedway. You can run 3 wide around this racetrack and be competitive, whether it's the bottom, the middle, or the top.
And I think that says a lot for how these IROC cars are set up as well, that you can do that for 2 consecutive laps.
Let's go down pit side. Matt Yoakum.
Mike, Larry Mack hit on it right away. It's the chassis package that the IROC guys have for these IROC cars, but also the tire that Goodyear brought to Atlanta. A completely different tire combination than what they raced here last year. A little bit softer, allowing these guys to go 3, 4, and hopefully not 5 wide down the front stretch like we almost had here last year. But some great racing expected from this tire package.
And a tip of the cap to the IROC test drivers, Dave Marcus, Jim and Jay Sauter, father and son, and David Donahue, the son of the series' first champion, Mark Donahue. Those 4 drivers set these cars up as equally as possible.
Now we're riding with Matt Kenseth, who's running back in the 7th position. Just as he drives off into turn 1, listen to the RPM. You'll hear it never change, wide open. Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug.
Say, Larry, wide open all the way around this racetrack. Just try to keep the car where you feel it, where it doesn't bind up that little bit. Now he's worked up on the high side here, trying to see how it feels as he comes off the turn 4. He can gain some ground on the rest of these guys.
Right now at the front of the field, Mark Martin in that 6 car, our champion from last year, he's up there trying to take the lead away from Scott Sharp in that 08.
IndyCar racer Sharp, past champion of the IRL, whose dad was a 6-time SCCA amateur sports car champion. Scott Sharp in command for 6 of the 7 laps so far. Mark Martin stalked Scott Sharp for 3 laps and then passed him going into turn number 1. So Martin's our new leader.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. I mean, this man here has pretty much owned this IROC series in recent years. Again, I'm not one bit surprised to see him out front right now flexing his muscle.
And we know for Mark Martin what it's about. It's about winning this race, and this could indeed be his very last IROC race in what could be his last full-time season of Nextel Cup.
Newman and Kenseth side by side. 5th place at stake. And Kenseth's got help. Tony Stewart. No help.
Yeah, Tony jumps to the inside right there trying to get back around Newman. Now, Tony had gotten away from this group, and they actually ran him back down, Larry. So you got to believe, we talked about early on, the draft is really a big factor here.
And Ryan Newman in the 12, Martin Truex in the 8 behind him. These guys, they've been going at it for several laps. But the biggest thing Tony Stewart needs to do is keep that yellow car in his sight, Matt Kenseth. He knows he'll be okay as far as his championship.
Well, it almost looks like Stewart's got to push off the corner because that's where the other drivers seem to gain ground on him, is coming off.
Yeah, he definitely has. They pulled away from him again, opened up a little bit of area right off that edge of that turn, Mike. So it'll be interesting to see what Tony's able to do as far as trying to figure out what he's going to need to be able to do to make this car work, because you got to understand, when he comes down pit road, there will be no chassis adjustments. Up to the driver to make the car work the best way he can.
And let's explain that. This is a 65-lap race, 100 miles, but at lap 40, they will throw a caution. All 12 cars will come to pit road for 4 tires, and that's all that will happen. No adjustments on the car.
One car, Wayne Taylor, has lost touch with the lead pack. He's 11 seconds back. As here's Newman making the move on Musgrave.
Get out of the throttle right there, Mike. It's just like all of a sudden, you know, and we keep talking about the wind. If you're going to have a problem, Mike, it will probably be coming off the exit of turn 4 because the way the wind is blowing across the racetrack. So you want to be real careful. Now, again, you're playing with that throttle even over in 1 and 2. So his car is not working quite like he'd like for it to.
Matt Kenseth, Frank Kimmel from ARCA, and here comes Newman.
Laps into this race now. This is definitely when that push, the car not turning from the center off, especially the exit of the corner, this is when it'll start to begin to show up.
For 2 reasons. Number 1, the tire pressure, tire wear, but again, the fuel, as it burns off, you get more nose weight in the car. It makes it harder to make the car rotate through the center and exit off like you want to do. A little bump draft right there by Newman.
And here's Matt.
And Dave Marcus told me, Mike, that during the IROC testing this week, practice showed that with the wind conditions, which mirror what we're seeing now, that guys were having about 450 to 500 RPM increase going into turn 3, which changed the whole balance of the race car all the way through it and developed a pushing condition off. So guys working through that today, much like they did on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, Matt, you can really see it from up here, how much wind is actually blowing on the racetrack. But more importantly, you can see these guys starting to hunt for the different lines to free these cars up, to do all they can not to basically rob these IROC cars of horsepower.
Oh, a little slide there by Kenseth. 2 of our championship contenders. Kenseth 17, Newman in the 12. They are 3rd and 4th. Tony Stewart is 8th. Max Pappas is 10th.
And again, we're still quite a ways from that lap 40 caution. But remember, at lap 40, there's bonus points paid for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Matt Kenseth would love to get as many of those points as he can get. 3 for 1st, 2 for 2nd, and 1 for running 3rd when that caution comes out. And right now, Matt Kenseth up there fighting Scott Sharp for that 2nd position.
Larry, you talk about that. We see our leader, Mark Martin, and he's got a pretty good sized lead on the rest of these IROC cars. I'm kind of surprised he'd been able to break away, but I believe if they could ever get lined up, especially this group here being led by Matt Kenseth and Ryan Newman along with Martin Truex Jr., I think they could run him down.
It's going to be hard to do running side by side.
In Nextel Cup, Martin would have what we'd call a sizable lead. But in this series of identical race cars, he has a huge lead. Almost 2 seconds. And here's why, 3 wide behind him.
Yeah, right now, Mark Martin's up there running like 34.90s. These guys running side by side are running 35.0s, 35.10s. Like Jeff pointed out, if they can ever get lined up, then they can probably run faster than those 34.90s.
Whoa! Ooh, somebody's got a big run. That somebody is Martin Truex. Here he comes, and instead of going to the bottom, he gives the bump to Mr. Newman.
But look how he blasted Newman back in front of Matt Kenseth. You could see it lift the car up and shoot him forward.
But did you see the slide job that Ryan put on Matt when he came up off of turn 2?
Now Matt Kenseth in the 17 fighting back on the bottom side, but he has no help down there.
Five cars under a blanket per second. Mark Martin is the runaway leader by 2.5 seconds with 20 laps complete this time.
This Sunday, NASCAR Race Day. One by one, chase contenders have seen their chance.
Speed on Demand puts some power in your hands because some things are worth living over and over again. Never miss your show. Go to speedtv.com to get Speed on Demand. Mark Martin by 3 full seconds over Ryan Newman in front of this final round of Crown Royal IROC 30. Martin cannot win the championship. Newman can. He's in second. So can Matt Kenseth in fourth. Tony Stewart in 6th and Max Pappas in 10th.
But if Ryan Newman's going to win this championship, Mike, he needs to get up there and lead some laps. He's got to start working on that because he's just about ready to lose the bonus part of it if he can't, you know, get close enough to really get up there and challenge Mark Martin. He leads more laps than anybody else. All of a sudden, it makes it even more difficult for him to overcome the deficit.
Larry Martin Truex in the 8th chose to go with Newman instead of Kenseth. Was he trying to stay out of that battle for the championship, or did he think that Newman was the better car?
I think he's going with who can help him the most. I think you're going to see Ryan Newman in the 12 car just, I think he just kicked up dust. I'm not sure he even actually got into the wall. If he did, he just barely skimmed it. I think it was more dust is flying than anything.
Lightly and politely, as our friend DW would say.
And obviously it's not hurt Ryan Newman in this 12 car because he's up there running second. But right now, thinking about Mark Martin in the 6 car, who has over a 3-second lead. We asked him last night on trackside, why do you run so well in the IROC cars? And he told us he thinks it's the reason he runs well in the IROC, the Busch Series, and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He thinks cars or trucks with less horsepower complements his driving style. These cars have about 250 to 300 less horsepower than the Nextel Cup car.
What that tells me is he's got a feel and a finesse, because you don't want to rob these cars of the horsepower they do have, so you got to be very finesseful. And the only way you can do that is be able to feel what the car is doing with the seat of your pants. So he has the ability, I think, to find the right groove, Mike, not to rob it of the very important thing that you lack a lot of, and that is horsepower.
Let's update our points leader, Tony Stewart, in the 20 car. Right now, he is somewhat settled in back in the 6th position. But as we mentioned earlier, he can look 2 cars in front of him, and he can see that 17 car, and that's what's important.
Remember, too, that at lap 40, we have the competition yellow. All the cars will get fresh tires, but no adjustments. And you will line up for the restart double file where you are running at the competition yellow. Some drivers may prefer the inside, some the outside, and there may be a little bit of that positioning going on here. Stewart has won championships in 5 different major racing disciplines, and there they are, with being the first man to do the USAC triple in 1 year in 1995.
You take a look at that right there and you think about what he has an opportunity to do. I think you got to reflect back on this whole entire IROC series, Mike, and think about Tony Stewart told a reporter the other day, the one thing he loves about racing here is you're racing against the best of the best. You take a look at who's around here. You know, Steve Kinser, for example, Frank Kimmel. He's won 8 ARCA championships. I mean, all the guys that are involved here, Sam Hornish, Scott Pruitt, all of them. I mean, it's the champion of champions. And it really, I think he summed it up best. When you can come out here and beat the best of the best, you've really, made something really special in your life.
And you know you're racing the other driver. You're not racing someone's engine department, somebody else's shock dyno, somebody else's tire specialist, or someone else's checkbook.
It's your ability against their ability.
Here we go with Kenseth down on the bottom to retake second place.
These three guys, they have been racing each other like this for about 24 of the 27 laps that we've completed.
And Larry, Matt has now got himself at least in a position for some bonus stuff. As you see right now, the 12th car is going back underneath him, trying to steal that second position back away from him.
2004, Kenseth started the race second in the standings. And here at Atlanta, he came from 10th to win over Ryan Newman to become the champion of in his first season in IROC.
It's almost like Newman in the 12 car gets off the corner better than Matt Kenseth in the 17, but Matt running that high line, he's keeping that thing wound up, and he fights back at the end of the straightaway, getting into the corner.
Boy, that was a bold move there by Newman to cut across in front of Truex. Remember, no spotters. The only radios these drivers have are with the IROC officials.
Don't look now, Mike. Here comes Tony Stewart on the bottom of that racetrack trying to get up here and make himself a factor in this group.
Well, the great thing about Atlanta Motor Speedway, depending on the handling characteristics of your car, as we've seen already, you can start moving that car around and complement the way it's driving and make it better.
10 laps to the competition yellow. Mark Martin out in front by 5 seconds. He's a lonely man out there. All the action is at second place. Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth, Martin Truex. Let's see, did Newman touch the wall that time? You decide. Monday night, Lost Drive-In, right here on Speed, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. When a gas station attendant joins the Hells Angels, he discovers it's more dangerous than he anticipated, especially when he steals the gang leader's girlfriend. Rawr. Jack Nicholson stars Hells Angels on Wheels. Lost Drive-In Monday at 9.
Did you star in that movie?
Don't point your finger at me. Don't drag me in that mess.
We used to work at a service station, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'm not going there.
There's a reason some of these movies have been lost. But we found them. Halfway in the final round of Crown Royal IROC 30. Mark Martin 5.1 seconds out front of Martin Truex. Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth back there, now behind Stewart. Frank Kimmel in the mix.
But now Tony Stewart in the 20 car, he's up there battling Martin Truex Jr. for third. We're riding with him here. And the reason he's battling for third right now is with basically about, what have we got, 7 laps to go before that 40? He can grab one of those bonus points for running in the top 3.
Pad that lead just a little bit.
Matt?
And Michael, although they don't have spotters, the drivers can see as they enter down in turn 1 the huge scoring pylon which counts the laps. And up top you can see lap 33, and that's what several drivers told me they're going to try to save their tires as much as they could until about 10 to go until the competition caution, and then let it hang out to try to get as many bonus points as possible.
Well, it appears that's exactly what Stewart has done, because he came to life here about a lap ago and moved past Kenseth and Kimmel. Kimmel tries the outside. Stewart blocks, and Kimmel's around off the front bumper of Kenseth.
Woo! I mean, right there in the middle of Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth, 1-2 in the championship battle. The caution flag will wave, but Frank Kimmel actually didn't end up hitting anything.
Kimmel went high to try to take Stewart. Stewart came up, closed the door, no contact. But as Kimmel cut left, he cut right across the bow of Matt Kenseth.
And I'll tell you what else it cut. Mark Martin's 5 to 6 second lead that he had in that 6 car.
You're talking about something being close, guys. Now, this was close.
Kimmel's in that pinkish car right there.
It's almost like he got up and he maybe got against the wall and yanked the steering wheel back to the left. I think you'll see it right here. Yeah, hit the wall.
Oh.
He ricocheted off the wall. Actually hit that wall pretty hard.
Well, I wonder what Matt Kenseth was thinking about that time.
That right there.
Larry, from that viewpoint right there, makes me wonder. I wonder if when Matt got in the back of him, he wasn't perfectly square and maybe got Frank just a little bit on the loose side. He kind of overcorrected trying to catch it.
Well, you're right here in this front stretch, and this thing actually turns a lot here as you leave the start-finish line.
The other part of that, Jeff, is that as Kimmel comes out to try to come up on the outside of Tony, and Tony comes high, suddenly there's no clean air going over Kimmel's car at all to give him downforce.
Lose the front end.
First caution of the day for Frank Kimmel as Mark Martin leads Ryan Newman, Martin Truex, Tony Stewart, and Matt Kenseth. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond with you for Crown Royal IROC 30. Pit stops under this caution included Frank Kimmel, Wayne Taylor, Max Pappas, and we'll go one more lap and then restart.
And it's like, again, they did not change tires on Max Pappas or Wayne Taylor. It's like Wayne Taylor's car wasn't running. They went under the hood, looked inside the car, and Max Pappas maybe was suspecting that his front end was knocked out of line. They were looking and rolling the car forward to kind of look at the front wheels.
Matt Yoakum's down on pit road.
Max Pappas is going to retake his position right before this caution. Max thought he might have had something amiss with his tires. Maybe he might have picked up debris or something, might have cut a tire. The IROC crew members checked it over under the watchful eye of Jason Norrie and Jim Meister. The crew chief found nothing wrong, sent him back out, and Wayne Taylor was complaining maybe something wrong with the power plant on his IROC machine. They looked to make sure all the plug wires was on, and nothing came up from what they could tell, so they sent him back out as well.
Jeff, I can almost bet you what Max Pappas was feeling. Something he doesn't get a chance to feel is when you slow down with hot tires, you pick up a lot of debris on your tires. It'll make you feel like you've got a flat tire.
Probably so, Larry. Probably so. Again, it's a good move for him to come down, have an opportunity to check it. At least his mind now, he knows he can go back and compete and not have a problem.
They will restart with 6 laps to go to the competition yellow. Mark Martin, your leader. Ryan Newman, one of the championship contenders, in second. Martin Truex, last year's winner, here in third. Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth, both of whom are chasing this championship.
And Mike, I think right now to get ready to come back and take this green, this is an opportunity for Ryan Newman to find out how fast he really is. So he finally gets a chance to draft with Mark Martin.
And Tony Stewart hopes he's real fast because he'll hook right onto that rear bumper of Ryan Newman in the 12.
Double foul restarts, no passing till after the start-finish line. Martin and Newman to turn 1.
And Tony Stewart in the 20 just didn't get that great of a restart up there on the high side, as he's going to slide back to about 5th or 6th, at least going through 1 and 2.
Well, I can tell you right now, Martin Truex Jr. has been bumping that 6 car, trying to get him down his back straightaway. And he did win here a year ago, so he knows what the tricks are as far as getting out front. Now he's going to go to the high side and try to put a move on Mark Martin off of turn 4.
The Martin and Martin show.
Truex got a good run off turn 4. They're side by side at the start-finish line.
So now Truex and Musgrave have each led 1 lap. Scott Sharp led 7 laps, and Mark Martin has led all the rest.
Now you see Stewart in that orange 20 car on the high side trying to fight his way back toward the top 3. And Matt Kenseth in the 17 side by side for 4th right now.
Tony can't make up his mind where he wants to run, the bottom, the middle, or up top.
I think there he was trying to keep Kenseth low in turn 4. They're 3 wide right behind them. Scott Sharp getting a push for Max Pappas. And Sharp goes past Kenseth and Stewart. That was a big push.
That was a big push. Big old bump draft.
Sharp in the gold car. Stewart in orange, of course. Kimmel. Kenseth in yellow, and here comes Max on the bottom. Swimming with sharks, you said, Jeff?
That's exactly right.
You can hear that throttle, really playing with that throttle right now. 4 laps to go to the caution.
Mark Martin is definitely taking off right now, but the 12 car has gotten back up around Martin Truex Jr. to regain 2nd place off of turn 2.
Ryan Newman in the 12.
Ryan Newman.
Now you see Frank Kimmel in the 46 car. Remember, he's the car that spun. Now, when they put tires on a car, it roughly has the same amount of laps as what they took off. But the good news, that was cold tires, which will have much better grip.
3 laps to the bonus, and right now that stands Martin, Newman, Kimmel. And it's about to change. Second place, Kimmel edging ahead. And Tony Stewart shut out of the bonus right now.
But boys, Frank Kimmel in that 46 car, he is on the move with those cold tires. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to catch Mark Martin up there in that 6 car. We see Tony Stewart, Martin Truex Jr. right now battling for the 4th position. But there's really just no fair way to do that tire deal. Again, they put tires on the car that's comparable as far as laps, but cold tires will mean so much.
Look at Scott Sharp. He was, what, 2nd or 3rd 2 laps ago, and then got shuffled back.
I love the different grooves you can see here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The bottom, the middle, and the top.
There's not enough people running in one place to make a groove. It's just wide open racetrack.
Mike, we always talk about comers and goers, but it's amazing how we saw Frank Kimmel go from the back to the front because of the cool tires. And we also saw Scott Sharp get a really big push from Max Pappas, go all the way up as far as 4th. Now all of a sudden he's back to 8th again.
Riding with Kenseth as he tries to climb back past Max Pappas.
So Mark Martin will complete lap 40. So he will get the bonus points of 3, and they'll let the whole field complete this lap 40, and then the caution will come out. So neither one of our championship leaders, Tony Stewart or Matt Kenseth, will get any bonus points as far as running 3rd, 2nd, or 1st here at the completion of lap 40.
And I'm sure that makes Tony Stewart just happy.
Yeah, as long as he didn't get any and Kenseth didn't get any, he's happy.
That's right. And why would you feel that way, Larry? Just for $1 million.
Exactly.
Got a million reasons why.
That's exactly right.
And 2nd through 12th pays $80,000. Not a bad payday, but big difference there.
Eldora or bust. Tony Stewart in 4th, Ryan Newman in 3rd. They are the leaders among our championship contenders for Crown Royal IROC 30. By Crown Royal, have a race named after you. Go to crownroyal.com for details. Frank Kimmel in 2nd place, getting serviced at the same time as Mark Martin. Matt, a lot of cosmetic damage to the right side of that car.
And that's what Frank was telling Jay Signori on the IROC team radio. He said, I pushed. I was so tight up off the corner, I got into the wall. Just take a look to make sure I didn't break anything underneath. The IROC crew members did. Gave him the thumbs up, and he is pulling away now. Tony Stewart came on the radio and asked Jay Signori, do I take on fuel on this pit stop? And they told him no. And one thing that Dave Marcus told me that they did this week here at Atlanta, they made simulation mock runs of the short segment that you're going to see coming up, the 25-lap segment. They pumped fuel out so that way they had the right fuel level of what these cars will have when we get ready to take the green flag, as that way they could also see the balance of the race car. As Stewart is smiling on the side of the race car, you can see just above his name on the left door, the IROC crew members gave him a little message as well, just like on the headrest, Eldora or bust, because they too would love to see an IROC race at the famed Eldora Speedway on the dirt. But Dave Marcus told me what you're going to see coming up should be spectacular, because these cars were even better on a lower fuel load.
Thanks, Matt. As they change tires, see the red stripes? Those are on the right side tires. And the left side tires get green stripes, so there is no confusion. Why red and green? Well, if you own a boat, you know.
Well, and what started that, let's go back to Texas last year when a left side tire got put on the right front of Kurt Busch's car and he hit the wall. So this is just kind of insurance. But just to make note, these fuel cells in these IROC cars are 33 gallons of fuel. Plenty enough fuel to run this 100-mile race. That's 11 more gallons than a Nextel Cup car.
And if you don't own a boat, the rule is red right returning. Look for the red buoy when you're returning
Max gave us a wave. He knew the camera was on
looking at you there, Mike, trying to give you a little wave.
Well, he's a showman.
Yeah.
And he's a great racer.
And you know, he fought his way back there before that caution. Fought his way back to 6th spot.
Matt?
And there is some damage, cosmetic damage to the right front fender. The valence area is damaged. They're trying to break that away. It might have caught it did, Mike. It looks like it caught the fender brace on that right front fender. Damage to this championship contender. And this is in the Kimmel incident on the racetrack. IROC crew members going to take their time trying to fix this the best they can to get Kenseth back out so this does not kill his chance for a second Crown Royal IROC championship.
Well, we've been talking, Matt, this whole race about these cars not wanting to turn, wanting to push. And when you've got damage like that to the right front fender, that's just going to magnify taking away front downforce away from the car and make the car turn even worse.
That was a pretty heavy contact between he and Kimmel when Kimmel came off the wall.
Both these guys are extremely lucky to even be going, I think, Mike. I mean, normally you see cars get turned like that in this travel area. They usually wind up in the garage area. He's right now a very durable IROC car to begin with, so it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with the car down there. Matt, are they planning on making some more repairs?
Jeff, they're going to pull the car forward. They've told Kenseth to pull about 2 pit stalls forward. They will finish working on his damage once they have completed all the tire changes on the rest of the cars in the field. So they are going to work. It also gives them a chance to pull out the parts and pieces that they will need to try to do a complete repair job on the 17 at Kenseth.
And we want to stress, during this pit stop, all these guys are getting, besides a little service to them, a little water, 4 fresh cold tires. That's the only adjustments that will be made on these 12 race cars.
Crown Royal has been a great marketing partner for the IROC series, but this is the final year of their agreement with IROC, and all of us would love to see this series continue on to 2007 and beyond. IROC is looking for sponsorship for 2007 and beyond. We'd all love to see the great traditions and championships settled continue. Let's go back and have another look at Frank Kimmel. Bounces off the wall and into the path of Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth was just a victim. There was nowhere to go in this situation, but it was pretty hard contact, like you said, Mike.
I'm really surprised that there's not more damage to Kimmel's car. That was a hard hit, even though it was the safer barrier. That's the way they'll line up for the restart. 25 laps to go. Crown Royal IROC Championship. And they've got that damage repaired, Jeff.
Yeah, Jason Ignoring his guys did a really good job, Mike. You can see here, that's what was torn loose. And this is a splitter. That's what makes the air go around the car, makes the downforce. You see, they've replaced his whole fender. This area right here, now they've got that downforce back on the front of the car. And Larry Mack, that is a huge fix for Matt Kenseth. If he wants to have a chance to even thinking about winning this championship or this race, he needed that downforce in the front of the car.
No, I think they have fixed it probably almost about as good as it was when this whole thing started. They had good pieces built up to kind of accommodate the wreck that he had here.
Tomorrow on Speed, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, lays the foundation for your racing experience. Now, last week, the chase for the Nextel Cup deck was shuffled, a new leader in the title race. So tune in as JR, Jimmy, Kenny, and Wendy break down the biggest stories in Atlanta. 12:30 Eastern, here on Speed.
Just like the last restart we had, every restart in the IROC, cautions do not count, but every restart is a double file restart. So this means Mark Martin will start on the inside of row run, Frank Kimmel on the outside, and all the way back through Wayne Taylor in the 10 car, who's back in 12. And this is where you know you've got what you've got for 25 laps.
And it's significant to note that Matt Kenseth will restart 7th. Because of those repairs, he did not. It was not required to go to the back of the field. Everyone restarts where they came off the track. Pace car is going to head home, and Mark Martin and Frank Kimmel will bring this field down to run 23 laps remaining to settle it.
25
laps. Right, we pull the caution laps off. Okay, here we go. Green flag.
Tony Stewart in the 20 car restarting back in 4th. He got a pretty decent restart that time. He stayed right with Frank Kimmel in the 46 car.
But the number 6 got an excellent restart right there as Tony Stewart looks to the outside of Kimmel.
Not a lot of room out there.
Turn 2, that may be danger.
He had to roll out of that throttle. He knew he was running out of real estate fast.
When you roll out of the throttle here, you roll right to the back.
That's exactly right, at a place you're running wide open.
Riding with Max Pappas.
Who restarted back in the 6th position in the 16 car.
And that's where he runs. So now Stewart has his work cut out for him as he crosses the line in 10th. With Newman 4th, Kenseth 3rd, and Pappas 7th. Stewart breaking out from the inside trails the other title hopefuls.
Boy, Kenseth in the 17, Newman in the 12, getting a little dicey off turn 2 that last lap. You see Newman in the 12 goes all the way to the high side.
Oh, we got trouble right there off of 4. Pappas.
Mad Max hangs on to it.
Caution will fly. He's going to keep it straight, though, but the caution is out. He went, I don't know I've ever seen anybody go the full distance of the grass on the front stretch.
That was a lot of D-die-do.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, he had a handful. He was fighting it all the way off of turn 4. When I saw him, he got sideways, he caught it, he got sideways again, and did a good job of not going all the way around, but more importantly, everybody else did a good job of not hitting.
Kind of gives you the idea Max would like Eldora.
Yeah.
Oops.
A little bit of damage as he was going across this asphalt here that breaks up the grass on the front stretch.
Time for a new splitter, but first, let's have a look at what happened. Watch the 16. Oh. Max had a run. Tried to slip to the inside. Trouble was, Scott Sharp was already there.
But he was lucky to be able to drive that thing back out on the racetrack.
And Scott got 2 in the grass, kept going, and almost took the nose off of Tony coming back out.
Tony Stewart was thinking about that time.
Now, our third replay, do not try this at home. This is riding with Max Pappas.
A little left. Slide a little to the right. Straighten it out and go, go, go. Now, this was a close call, as we mentioned, for Tony Stewart. Scott Sharp came up and almost dashed Stewart's championship hopes.
I think they had just a little bit of contact there, but nobody the worse for the wear. I wonder if Mad Max has got that smile on his face right about now.
I see a sign of relief on his face.
Like, whew.
The splitter underneath the grill that you see here right down at the bottom of that front valence, that looks a lot like what we're going to see in the car of tomorrow in Nextel Cup. They'll have a front splitter instead of a front valence or front spoiler. It looks much like that. 41 laps complete. Max Pappas, whoever he is, takes a wild ride. Pappas,
That's what he said.
This weekend on Speed, Sunday.
Before we go back to green, let's look at how this accident develops. Watch Frank Kimmel. He is the catalyst in all this, and there is Max Pappas. Keep an eye on those 2 cars.
See Kimmel get almost up against the wall, comes down, and it's almost like Max Pappas felt like he was going to come down on him, so he turned just ever so slightly to the left.
And Scott Sharp was right there. And asphalt, grass fault.
And away we go in there.
They brushed the grill clean on Max Pappas's car and taped up the remnants of that front splitter.
So with 24 laps to go now, once again, we'll be back to a double file restart.
Thursday on Speed, the chase is on. The tour for the title heads to Texas. With only 3 races left, there's going to be a Lone Star-sized implication from this one. Steve Burns and Carl Edwards preview the excitement. The chase is on. Thursday, 8 Eastern, 10 Pacific, and only on Speed.
Now, if you notice, through all of that, Tony Stewart, our points leader, he's all the way back in the 10th position. So he'll restart this race back there on the 5th row. You see him right there, the orange number 20 car.
But Larry, this may have been a break for him because he had to get out of the throttle. He was going back to the field anyway. So this may give him an opportunity to kind of get back a little bit closer to the 17, who he's really trying to mirror.
It's almost exactly what he did at the beginning of the race. But remember, he doesn't have near as many laps to get back to the front as he did at the start of the race.
It's time to go. It's time to go. Otherwise, he's going to watch his championship maybe drive off in the sunset.
Mark Martin takes the green flag with Martin Truex alongside, and Newman giving Truex a little bump draft down toward turn 1.
Newman has been the bump draft king today in this 12 car, and you can see right there he catapults Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car into the lead. Mark Martin's going to go all the way back to the 3rd spot in the 6 car.
Kimmel to the bottom in 46, Musgrave in the 1, and Stewart behind Musgrave. Sam Hornish alongside, who's going to run a couple of NASCAR Busch races later this season.
Out at Phoenix and down at Homestead in November.
Kinzer behind Hornish, and Stewart all the way back in front of just Musgrave and Taylor.
Tony was not making any ground down on the bottom that time, so he's moved to the top so he can find some room to run. You might say 3 wide into turn 3. You don't want to be doing that too much, guys.
Scott Sharp in the 08 car straight to the bottom of the racetrack, passes 2 of them through turn 3 and 4.
And tries to sniff a draft from Ryan Newman, the new leader.
Here comes Tony Stewart charging up to the middle of the pack.
And here comes Kimmel, or rather Pappas behind. This is from Stewart. Looking at Kimmel, and there is Kenseth to the inside, the driver that Stewart has to keep in sight if he's going to win this championship. And here comes Max in the 16. Thought he was going to get a little bite of Stewart there. Nope.
Boy, Mark Martin in the 6 car squeezes up against Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car, trying to fight his way back to the lead. 3 wide at the start-finish line with Kenseth pushing Mark Martin.
What's clear to me is Scott Sharp's car will fly. He can pass anybody. But when he gets to the front of a pack, that car just stalls out, and they gang up on him. And look, Sharp's going right to the back.
Right to the back one more time. But what about that move Mark Martin put? He almost like he pitched Martin Truex Jr. up against the wall, used the air off his car to make a run down it, and at the low side of the racetrack, got that help from 17 to Kenseth. He made a heck of a move to get back up to 2nd position.
Comes Truex in the black 8 car to the inside of Matt Kenseth in the 17 for 3rd spot.
Kenseth now 4th, Stewart right behind in 5th.
And Stewart's exactly where he wants to be, because if we've been talking the whole race, he can see that yellow bumper of Matt Kenseth in the 17.
But Larry, I think he said, I really want to get a little bit closer to that 17 car. Goes to the inside of Truex.
For the lead, Newman under pressure from Mark Martin on the outside. Whoa, they touch.
They about ran out of racetrack off turn 4, but Mark Martin, he will lead that lap in the 6 car. They touch again.
And again and again and again. And they won't give it up. So somebody's going to get him, and here they come. It's Kenseth on the bottom.
Pulling Tony Stewart, now 20 car, 3 wide off turn 2.
Ryan Newman, 4 wide.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not going to work, boys. Somebody's got to give. And here comes Tony Stewart in the 20 car. We're riding with him here off in the 3 and 4.
He's not worried about the championship. He's going to go up there and win this race after all. Woo! Close off for 4 one more time.
Now they kick Mark Martin in the 6 car all the way back to the 5th position. Tony Stewart running exactly where he likes to run, right around the bottom of the racetrack.
But what a scuffle that Newman and Mark Martin had. It started in turn 4. They didn't stop hitting each other till turn 1.
What I tell you at the beginning of this race, take the brain chip out, boys. I'm telling you right now, Ryan Newman wants to win this race, and he's going to let the championship points fall where they may.
So Martin Truex, who won here 1 year ago, is back out front in the beat and bang finale of the Crown Royal IROC 30.
Here we go.
This Sunday, NASCAR Race Day.
It's 13 laps to go, and Halloween is this week. Ryan Newman trick-or-treating ahead of Martin Truex Jr., Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, and Sam Hornish. The top 5 right now: Mark Martin, Ted Musgrave, Max Pappas, then Kimmel, Kinzer, Taylor, and Sharp. I'll show you Mark Martin and what happened a moment ago as he was battling Ryan Newman.
Car picked up a push off the corner, gets up against the wall. Look at this, falls right in between our 2 points leader, but I think Tony Stewart saw that coming.
Yeah, second time today, really, Tony Stewart has dodged a big bullet because he almost got in the back of that 6 car. And if he had, he could have kissed that championship goodbye for sure. But great job of driving by Mark Martin as well as Tony Stewart. And they're now all trying to battle back up here and reel in who now is Ryan Newman, who took the lead back to Martin Truex Jr. just a lap ago.
Yeah, with all that happening, Mark Martin in the 6 car, he's right now in the 5th position, just a little over a second behind leader Ryan Newman. 11 laps to go.
Tony Stewart seems like he's content right now, Larry, just to follow that 17 car.
Not a bad plan right now.
No, not considering some of the near misses he's had already today.
Stewart's car does not seem to get off turn 2 as well as Matt Kenseth's, though. So we'll see how this plays out over the final 10 laps in Crown Royal IROC 30. Speed's coverage of the Crown Royal IROC Series from Atlanta, presented by Crown Royal. Have a race named after you. CrownRoyal.com has all the details.
I don't know about have a race named after you, but we got us a race as these guys are coming 7 laps to go. Ryan Newman in the 12, Martin Truex Jr. in the 8. Side by side, they keep swapping the lead back and forth.
And they brought Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, and Mark Martin right back to them.
Man, did you see that shot that Kenseth just gave Martin Truex Jr. as he go on to turn 1? I mean, he just lifted the back tires right up off the ground.
Yeah, it's almost like Martin Truex Jr. in the 8. You can see how he reels Ryan Newman in running the high side. He'll pass him on the bottom side. When he goes back to the high side, Newman runs him back down.
Newman has now led 8 laps in this race, which puts him tied for second on the lap leader bonus. Or excuse me, puts him second behind Mark Martin for leading the most laps. That's worth 3 bonus points.
Newman's car, as it's been doing the whole race, gets such a good run off the corner like he did that time. He drives right by Martin Truex Jr. again. 6 to go.
It almost looks like Newman would rather be second coming off the final corner and draft past Truex. He's tried that move a couple of times. It's worked for him every time, but of course, it wasn't the last lap.
Well, right now, they're trying to figure each other out because, again, you got to realize no spotters. There's nobody talking to these drivers. They've got to figure it out on their own, where their car works the best, what position they want to be in on that final lap. And we got 5 to go, Mike.
There goes Newman in the 12, back to the bottom of the racetrack. He wants to lead back. Matt Kenseth in the 17. He's going to stay in the tire tracks of Martin Truex Jr. in the 8.
But look on the bottom of the racetrack who's digging back again. The 6 car, Mark Martin. He's trying to get up here to be a factor in this race.
5 cars in a row, any one of them can win it. Then Musgrave, then Hornish, the Indy 500 winner this year.
Now here comes Truex. Got to run on the high side. Wanted to try to do the crossover move. He moves to the high side, going down the front straightaway. Newman puts the block on him.
4 laps to go. And now it's 2 wide and 3 wide for the first 5 spots.
You could hear Newman. He had to get out of the throttle on the bottom side of the racetrack there through 1 and 2. Truex was able to stay in the throttle. He takes the lead back.
Oh, we got that battle for up front. Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth are sitting back here in 3rd and 4th, having their own little race.
Newman cannot draft past Truex that time. He had to get way out of the throttle, and there's 3 laps to go.
But there's our points leaders side by side. Matt Kenseth in the 17, Tony Stewart in the 20. Here comes Mark Martin, the guy that dominated the first part of the race in the 6 car, as well as Ted Musgrave in the 1.
And that whole group has run away from Kimmel, Hornish, Pappas, Kinzer, Taylor, and Sharp.
Watching outside of Stewart's on board. He had to get out of the throttle, guys, that were coming off of turn 2 when he got up underneath Kenseth and gave up a lot of ground. That's how Mark got back around him.
2 to go. You've got light fuel load now in the rear of the car, and you've got fairly worn tires, and here come the two most important laps of the day.
And Ryan Newman was able to go back to the bottom of the racetrack when Truex went to the high side. I think it's going to come down to turn 4 on the last lap to who wins this race.
Newman back on the bottom.
And so is Stewart, and he will catch back up the 3 leaders.
He put a block on him. Here comes Truex. 1 to go. White flag. This is where Newman has been strong at the bottom of the racetrack through turn 1 and 2. There goes Kenseth to the high side.
Time to find out whose car works better and which groove. Last time by. Here we go.
Here comes Kenseth. He's pushing Truex down the back straightaway. They're coming to the checkered flag.
Kenseth up high. Newman looking on the bottom. Coming even with Kenseth. Stewart in tow. They almost get together. Not quite. But Newman lost his momentum, and Kenseth gets second. Truex wins in Atlanta for the 2nd year in a row.
But Tony Stewart winds up 3rd. Mike, and you know what that means.
It means that Tony Stewart has clinched a championship in his 6th different major racing division.
Something tells me he's going to be pretty excited about this championship. But Martin Truex Jr., he can really thank Matt Kenseth because he gave him the shove down that back straightaway that catapulted him to be able to hold on to the lead.
Tony Stewart is the champion of Crown Royal IROC 30. We'll all celebrate after this. Last year, Martin Truex Jr., as Busch Series champion, won the IROC finale in Atlanta and wound up 2nd in the IROC championship standings. This year, he becomes a repeat winner, and he and Tony Stewart will get to have the big celebration in IROC Victory Lane. Matt?
And the pride of New Jersey, Martin Truex Jr. climbing out again, a winner in the Crown Royal IROC Series. Describe how much fun that was, that short segment.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Me and Newman were going at it pretty heavy there, and Matt was pushing me along pretty good there.
And then 4 wide.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on there. Mark was upset at somebody. He was shoving him down the track, and I was like, oh, thanks, there's a hole for me. But I enjoyed running the high side. That was where my bread and butter was today. So, man, I had a blast. These things are fun here. It's you never know what's going to happen. It's like, 3 or 4 to go. I knew I had a shot, but you just never know. So, a lot of fun racing with them guys.
Truex takes another win here in Atlanta.
Tony Stewart will celebrate an IROC championship, but winning titles is nothing new for Tony. It's his versatility in a variety of cockpits that makes him so impressive. No one before Stewart had ever claimed the Silver Crown Sprint and Midget titles of USAC in the same year. But in 1995, the Rushville Rocket did just that. Then, moving up a big step to Indianapolis, he won the Indy Racing League title in 1997. And then moving to NASCAR in 2002 and 2005, 2 NASCAR Cup championships. And now he has conquered his 6th different top-level racing discipline. He is the champion of Crown Royal IROC 30, and Matt Yoakum's with him.
And Mike, he just jumped off the roof of the car. Well, this has to mean a lot, knowing how many different historical names have claimed the IROC crown.
Yeah, hang on, I got to drink my Coke first. I'm thirsty.
That's a lot of work.
Well, it's such a great honor just to be able to run in this series, and to be invited every year is a huge honor, let alone to win it. So, like we said before the race, to know A.J. Foyt and Earnhardt and all these guys, and my good friend Mark Martins, win this championship. It's awesome. I mean, Crown Royal's done such a good job this year, and their Drink Responsibly, Be a Champion campaign is really huge, and really proud of them for their leadership in that. They're proactive, not reactive. So really proud to be associated with them, and really proud that they've supported the Signori family the way they have. It's an awesome series.
What are you going to do with the $1 million? That's the biggest question everybody's wanting to know all week.
I told Signoris I'm more than willing to give it back. Just bring these cars to Eldora. We'll show them what a dirt race is all about.
You have a date already picked out?
No, I'm still working with Jay and Barb and George. So hopefully we'll get something worked out. I'm not going to cash it. I'll just sit there and wait. So hopefully they'll be willing to take it back, and we'll go to Eldora and have us a dirt race, and let the fans see what Steve Kinsler and Daniel Lasowski and these guys can do in these cars when they get them on the dirt.
And Tony Stewart did it the way he wanted to, racing for the championship here at Atlanta, his first ever Crown Royal International Race of Champions title.
The list he joins is very impressive. As we mentioned, Mark Donohue, the first IROC champion, Bobby Unser, A.J. Foyt, Al Unser, Mario Andretti, Bobby Allison, Cale Yarborough, Harry Gant, Jeff Bodine, Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, and Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison, Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, all IROC champions, and now add Tony Stewart to that list.
And you know what, just looking at this race today, this is our 3rd year of doing IROC, the 4th race of 2006. That's about as good a racing as we've seen, but we've seen it all year long in IROC 2006.
We haven't been disappointed, I think, since especially since Crown Royal got back in with this IROC series. We've had great racing, we have great competitors, and today was exactly what we were hoping it'd be. Right down to the last lap, coming off the final corner, who was going to win it, who was going to win the championship.
And hats off to Jay Signori and that very talented crew up in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, the home of the International Race of Champions, for being able to bring cars that are equally prepared, that are competitive, that are able to race 3 and 4 wide, and that are safe.
And Mike, to add to that, the champions from around the world want to drive on top of all that. I mean, you think about what you just said right there, the International Race of Champions, everybody wants to be a part of it. It's a great series.
I'm already thinking about next year.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Schumacher who doesn't have a whole lot to do.
There you go.
There you go. Come out of retirement.
There's a fellow named Montoya coming over here. This could get real interesting.
Yeah.
But what a great ride it's been. For all of us at Speed, congratulations to Tony Stewart, the champion of Crown Royal IROC 30.